Where does your favorite NFL team rank entering the 2025 NFL season? Welcome, football fans, to your official BLV NFL Week 1 Power Rankings. That's right, it's the first power ranking video of the 2025 NFL season, where I rank every NFL team every week of the NFL season. How do I feel about your favorite team? Are they great? Are they contenders? Or do they absolutely suck? Let's find out. Before I get started, Gronk, spike the like button, show your love and appreciation for the best power rankings on the internet, and let me know in the comments where you agree, where you disagree, and let me know where you would rank the Green Bay Packers after they traded for Micah Parsons. That's the big headliner, and part of the reason I'm making this video so early. Before I do get to my list and introduce the worst team in football for 2025, I do want to give a quick shout to my new channel. My new channel is Money Mitch. It's a channel where I will be posting my bets every week of the NFL season, where I will be discussing fantasy football, starts and sits, waiver wire claims, moves to make. I'll be picking games early on Money Mitch. So if you're interested in the gambling side, the fantasy side of yours truly, then go subscribe to Money Mitch. Let's go. Also, for those of you that are fantasy players, I'm going to leave a link in the pinned comment and in the description. I have released my 2025 fantasy football draft board. So if you haven't drafted yet and you want access to that, that's in the description. That's in the pinned comment. Go check it out. It's the fantasy draft board that I use in all my high stakes leagues. I bring it to all my leagues, all my drafts. It's what I actually use. So go check it out. Okay, let's begin without further ado with the worst professional football team. At number 32, the New Orleans Saints. Did you really think I was going to go somewhere else, jabroni? No, it's the New Orleans Saints. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the New Orleans Saints. They're starting Spencer Rattler at quarterback. I don't recall a team this desperate before they've even played a game. This might be one of the worst teams we've ever witnessed, guys. I'm going to throw that out there right now. The Saints are terrible. There is no redeeming quality about the Saints. The quarterback stinks. The coach is brand new, and honestly, he might have the least amount of swag, the least amount of aura that I have ever seen from a single head coach. He's in the conversation. Their pass rush is pathetic. Their secondary is even worse. And I feel bad for Chris Olave. I feel terrible for Alvin Kamara. I feel really awful for Rashid Shaheed. Their defense is old. Their offense is going to quit halfway through the year. The Saints really stink. I'm not even exaggerating. They suck. I don't know how else to say it. They're really, really, really terrible. You get the point? At number 31, the New York Jets. Will we ever be good? Jets. Yeah, I'm sorry, but 2025 is another season of stinking. You stink, Jets. You employ Justin Fields, the singular most overrated player that actually sucks I've ever seen. I don't know what it is. You know what it is? It's the visor. That's what I think it's the visor. I think we should disallow Justin Fields from being allowed to wear a visor. Because if you just let him not wear a visor, everyone would know he actually sucks. But the visor makes him look really good. I'm not going to lie. So that might be what it is. But then we have a coach in Aaron Glenn who's got really a lot that he needs to prove to me, because I'm not a big fan, personally. It takes a lot for me in this modern NFL to be a fan of a defensive coach, first of all. It's really difficult to pull off. But Aaron Glenn was barely a great coordinator, so I need to see this. Defensively, and even from a roster perspective, we discussed this. I had them 21st in my roster rankings. Their roster isn't that bad. You know, it's the leftovers of the Aaron Rodgers era. I think the offensive line is young and promising. It might be the reason Jets fans can make it through the season. I do think Breece Hall, there's something buzzing in that backfield. I feel like Braylon Allen might take his spot. I wouldn't be surprised if Breece Hall was like a trade deadline candidate at some point. Like, honestly, with the way I think this team is going to play this year. Garrett Wilson and nothing else at wide receiver. They're really hoping that Jason Taylor's kid, Mason Taylor, makes up at tight end as a second-round pick. Hopefully he does something because they really need it. This might be the most run-heavy team in football. That's at least their aspiration. But the problem is it's hard to run the ball when you're losing. So once they get behind, they're going to be exposed as a terrible receiving core and a terrible passing football team. Defensively, again, I think they're solid. And I think with Aaron Glenn's system, man coverage, Sauce Gardner will play better. I like their linebackers. We'll see if Johnson can come back healthy. Will McDonald's a baller, needs to improve against the run. Quinnen Williams has a new partner in Harrison Phillips. I think that's a nice little addition to help them stop the run where they have been weak in recent years. So I think the Jets can play some defense and make games gritty and close. But I just think when it comes down to it, when they get behind in games, they're going to be an absolute disaster. Because their main weaknesses are still stopping the run and passing the football. So for a bad team, that's not an area you want to be. Some people think they're going to win 6-7 games. I just don't see it because I don't think their defense is dominant enough to pull that off. And I just don't think the offense is going to be any good once people stop the run. So at number 31, the Jets might be a little bit more inspired than teams that are above them. But at least to start the season, which is what my power rankings are based off, it's based off how I view them in week 1. The Jets are at second worst. Now, a team that I think might have a worse record than the Jets, but I would rank above them at number 30 entering week 1, right? These are week 1 power rankings. These are no longer off-season predictive power rankings for the entire year. So keep that in mind, okay? At number 30 is Cleveland. Now, why do I have Cleveland above the Jets in week 1? Joe Flacco. They're also healthy on the offensive line for once. And they don't have a terrible defense by any means. I mean, the Browns and Jets defense is pretty similar. They both have an alpha number 1 corner. They like to play man coverage. They have some mediocre secondary playmakers defensively and some stars, right? Myles Garrett absolutely is a stud, best defensive player in football. And we'll see what Mason Graham looks like in season 1. Will they regret not taking Travis Hunter? Will they regret that trade? We will see. Their linebacker position's a bit of a question mark, right? They lost JOK. Schlesinger needs to step up. Devin Bush needs to step up, who played well for them last year. I don't love their safety position. I do think Emerson is quite a big loss. Offensively, I'm looking forward to watching Joe Flacco. I'm looking forward to seeing the gunslinger sling the rock to Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, maybe a little bit of Tillman. I'm intrigued for fantasy purposes to see who the running back is really going to be. Ford, Sampson, who's it going to be? I think the Browns, though, will start the season off playing some competitive ball. I think the offense may surprise you with how well Flacco runs it. And I think defensively, they can compete, certainly, right? They're a good unit with some really good players across the board. So Cleveland, I just think is going to dwindle as the season wears on and they make their way through the depth chart and Dylan Gabriel's hitting the football field, which, by the way, I told you he's better than Shedeur. It's just a team that's going to be looking towards 2026. They might be selling players. There might be Stefanski on the hot seat. There's going to be a lot going down in Cleveland. So it's going to get dramatic fast. They have a really difficult schedule. They might not win many games. But I do believe just based on their team, their situation right now, they are number 30. Okay? At number 29, the Tennessee Titans. Titans are certainly not terrific just yet, but Cam Ward gives me hope. Right? The defense, I do think, will be strong against the run. I question their pass rush. Will L'Jarius Sneed remove head from ass? We will find out. They do have some good football players on both sides of the ball, like Malik Hooker, like Calvin Ridley. Can Chigakonkwo or somebody take a step forward in that passing attack? Look out for the rookie. I'll just throw that out there. The offensive line is one of the aspects that I'm very intrigued by because I think the offensive line could actually be one of the best O-lines in football this year. Like, I think it has a very high ceiling. J.C. Latham moves from the left to the right. They did add Dan Moore. I think Cushenberry plays better this year. Zeitler and Skoronski at guard is low-key one of the best guard combos in football. I think Tony Pollard really will thrive off of that. And I think Callahan's coaching typically takes effect in year 2. So I like Tennessee to be able to protect Cam Ward, allow him to have that time and patience and that, swagger that he offers behind the line of scrimmage. I think he probably will have some bad games, but I think he'll also be able to ignite this team with his leadership, with his confidence, and with his bravado. And I feel like the Titans, they're just going to be a team that believes in themselves. They have a purpose. They have a direction. I'm uncertain about the head coach, but I think the defense can remain competitive just as they were last year. I think the offense can be a little bit more fun to watch due to the rook, and I don't think this is a good team, but I do feel like they're at least a little bit more watchable. They're a little bit more intriguing. So I have them at number 29. They could be a little bit of a sleeper, depending on if the defense can perform closer to last year. It's just going to be difficult without a pass rush, right? And then the offense, it just feels like they don't quite have enough weapons just yet. But we'll see. At number 28, the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Panthers, I actually, again, I lead off the Panthers in my power rankings almost every single time. I feel like a broken record. I feel every time like I'm ranking them way too low, and it feels like I'm ranking them lower every single time. But when I just sit there and I look at them and I'm like, how is this team supposed to win games? I understand, I guess, that the offense is supposed to take a step forward. They just traded Adam Thielen, and I guess that means Jalen Coker is going to take a big step in this offense, and he's going to play a lot more and probably catch a lot of footballs from Bryce Young. I love T-Mac and what he's going to be able to do in his rookie season. I think he has Rookie of the Year upside. I like the offensive line. I like Hubbard. I like Dowdle. I like the run game. I like the offense. But my problem is Bryce Young truly good enough to carry a one-sided, one-dimension, one-unit team? Because their defense still, in my opinion, is absolute shit. It is garbaggio. It is trash. It is still the worst in the league. You got Michael Jackson out there at cornerback. You got Nick Scott, who couldn't even cut it on the Bengals defense at starting safety. I can't even pronounce the guy's name that plays nickel corner. And you know that's bad when I can't do that. And then you've got the linebackers, which are not good. A backup Ram linebacker and a second-year guy. You got no pass rush to speak of. How are the Panthers stopping any team? How? So, Bryce is going to have to go out there and absolutely ball every single week to be able to win games. And I just don't see it. There's still questions about Bryce. So at number 28, I have Carolina, unfortunately. At number 27, Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins suck. Oh my gosh, do they suck. Wow. This team is going to absolutely blow. I'm not even doing this for a skit. I'm not doing this to play around. For that one guy on every single one of my videos that comments, Miami, I can't wait for them to sweep the Patriots. You know who you are, jabroni. Miami sucks. Like, they're terrible. Like, Tyreek does not want to be there. Jalen Waddle is going to get hurt probably in the first game. Devon Achane's already hurt. Okay? They traded Jonnu for no good reason when he was their best player last year. Their offensive line stinks. I mean, their left tackle, Patrick Paul, 2 first name, having ass. Right tackle, Austin Jackson. Bro, what are we doing? Tua's gonna die. He might die. Like, and then I gotta watch Tua run head first into the Bills linebackers. Like, oh. And then I feel bad for Durkant. The defense has a literal guy named Storm Duck playing cornerback, washed Minka, and a bunch of injured guys as their pass rush. This team actually stinks. The only reason I have them at number 27 is because of Mike McDaniel. He's going to be so high on the sidelines, he's probably going to have some sort of magic with all these different smoke and mirrors and motions. And they're going to play well in September. And then teams are going to figure them out. And then they're going to crash. That's what's going to happen. Right? And guys are going to start falling like flies. Soft, charming, soft football team. Miami is a joke, bro. Like, honestly. Number 26, the New York Giants. An empire state of mind, baby. The New York Giants actually got me with the vibes, bro. I'm not going to lie. The Giants' vibes are freaking fantastic. I almost ranked them a little bit higher than this, but then I looked at their schedule and I said, what? How are they going to win a game? That's what I said. Okay? Brian Daboll, good luck, sir. Now, here's the problem with the Giants. I'm going to lay it out to you guys right now what the problem is with the Giants, and we'll figure this out eventually. The Giants employ 3 quarterbacks who could play games for them this year, and the best quarterback they have on their team is their 3rd quarterback. That's exactly the problem with the Giants. They have the man with the most aura sitting on the bench, Jameis Winston. That's their problem right now. Now, their defense could be fantastic. I can't wait to watch Sexy Dexy do his dance, along with Abdul Carter. And then we've got Brian Spider Burns. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, I'm looking forward to Javon Holland. I'm looking forward to Paulson Adebo. I'm actually a Giants fan this year. I'm going to go that far. Russell Wilson might absolutely give me, like, probably sickness. I might puke. I feel bad for Giants fans. I can't wait for him to hold the ball for 10 seconds and throw it away when there's a guy wide open in the flat. I can't wait for him to throw 3 consecutive moon balls right to the defense. I'm looking forward to it. But, you know, Jackson Dart, I mean, that guy has swag. Okay? Jameis is Mr. Aura. I like Tyrone Tracy. Malik Neighbors is a dog. The O-line sucks. But I do feel like the defense and the vibes. I'm into the vibes. The vibes about this team are strong, bro. The vibes are strong. The Giants might be better than the Cowboys. I'm going to throw that out there. Number 25. Now I'm regretting not ranking the Giants over the Cowboys. Number 25, the Indianapolis Colts. And when you tell someone that Daniel Jones is starting at quarterback in the year 2025, there's just no way that I could rank the Colts higher than 25. I'm sorry. I want to. I respect the Colts roster. I rank them number 12. But the team is not good. See, this is the difference between roster and team. Your team stinks because you employ Daniel Jones. And if Daniel Jones isn't good, you employ Anthony Richardson, who might be worse than Tim Tebow. He probably is. Tim Tebow won a playoff game. How did he win? How did he do that? Does anyone know? I guess the power of God. But Indianapolis, probably a bottom 3 unwatchable team. I'll be watching for Jonathan Taylor. I'll be watching for Tyler Warren. I'll be watching for Joshua Downs. I feel bad for Alec Pierce because he's just going to have to run clear out routes, go balls, and Daniel Jones is never going to throw him the ball one time. Like, it's not going to happen. I feel bad for him. He should ask for a trade right now. Defensively, I like the defensive line. For real, Buckner, Stewart, Latu could take a step. Franklin, I love watching him sideline to sideline at linebacker. I like their safeties, Cross and Bynum. I think their coaching staff is genuinely pretty good. Like, I think that they got an upgraded defensive coordinator. I think Steichen is a decent OC. I just feel like they have no quarterback. Like, honestly, that's just this is a team that's a quarterback away from being good. At number 24, Dallas. Jerry. You have the 24th best team in the NFL. How do you feel about that, Jerry? How do you feel? You have the quarterback. Think about this real quick, guys. Think about this. Really think. Put down your drink. I see you. Put down your drink. Think about this. The Dallas Cowboys are paying Dak Prescott, their quarterback, their leader, the most money at the quarterback position in the NFL. And they are the 24th best team in the NFL. Think about that for a second. How is that even fucking possible? How does that happen? How do you pay Dak Prescott $50 million and you suck? How does that happen? Now, I'm looking forward to the offense. But the offense is going to have to score their asses off. Because if they do not, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, hopefully Jaden Blue. My best ball teams would very much want Jaden Blue. Micah Parsons. Gone. I already feel like this team is giving up. They've given up. They're done. Honestly, I feel like the team isn't even that bad, but the fact that they traded Micah Parsons is going to make everybody on the defense, everybody on the team, is probably going to backfire. They're probably not going to want to play. I mean, honestly, like, are they inspired at all? Do they have any heart, any soul? Dak, step up, bud. You're paid $50 fucking million. Step up. If you're any sort of leader, you got to get this team together, bro. It's not like the defense doesn't have any talent. They still got Dante Fowler and Odigizua and now Kenny Clark on the D-line. I like Enzaraku. They're going to get Overshown back eventually. They've got Diggs. They've got Bland. They've got Hooker. Do something. You suck. Number 23. The Raiders. The Raiders are at number 23. I think this team could be good, but it makes no logical sense. You know how I'm usually a fan of the Raiders? For logical reasons? Like, they traded for Devontae Adams. You know, like logical reasons. This might be the year the Raiders are good for absolutely no reason. The Raiders are not that talented, specifically on defense. They have no talent. Their linebackers are a bunch of cast-off bums. They have Max Crosby, and their second best defensive lineman is a guy that was injured last year. So good luck. Their corners are terrible. They're rather rookies, guys you've never heard of, or busts. But for some reason, they're probably going to be good. I don't know why. They have Brock Bowers. They have Ashton Genty. Okay. Will they have Jacoby? I don't know. We'll see. The O-line might be good. But what it really comes down to is Pete Carroll. Undeniable energy. Undeniable vigor. And then you have Chip Kelly, who could wow us with his offense. And then they have a good defensive coordinator. They do. And I mean, this team is just going to be good for no reason, aren't they? I ranked them at 23 because they really are not good on paper. Like, I don't have any logical reason. But they just might be good for some reason. I don't know. Number 22, the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know where to rank the Falcons. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be fair. The Falcons, I don't love the McGarry injury. That really hurts me. That really, really hurts my vibe with the Falcons, bro. Like, that hurts their run game. That hurts their pass game. Their quarterback is a pocket-centric guy who needs protection. It removed one of the strengths of their offense and their team, and probably the strength of their offense, their offensive line. I do still really like Bijan, Drake, and Mooney in fantasy, but I don't know, like, Penix needs to prove it to us first. I see the appeal to Penix, but he's not going to have that same offensive line. And defensively, I don't know. Like, Jesse Bates, AJ Terrell, the rest of the secondary is a little shaky. It looks like they might be starting multiple rookies, Watts and Bishop. We'll see if that helps. I like Caden Ellis. I like James Pierce. Did the pass rush, get better enough? Is the interior good enough? Is Raheem Morris going to just absolutely mess everything up? He sucks. Guys, I can guarantee you one thing. I will probably be making a Raheem Morris rant at some point during the season. It will come. I don't know when. I don't know how. But Raheem Morris will get a rant. I can promise you that. Now, the Atlanta Falcons, they could be the playoff team. They could win the NFC South. They could finish second. Most likely. They'll probably be 8-9. But do I actually think they're a good football team? Probably not. I don't know. How can I really say they're a good team when they have, fundamentally, they have a quarterback I've never seen play, past 3 games, and their defense is not good? How can I actually give you an argument for why they're good? So, that's why I have them at 22. Number 21, the Jags. Duval. Now, Duval, nobody talks about you, so I don't really know. Do you guys have good vibes or not? I can't tell, bro. I understand Liam Cohen's there and everyone, all the football nerds are excited to watch Trevor Lawrence. And I guarantee you that these men that love Trevor Lawrence, they rather have the same hair as Trevor Lawrence or they want to condition his hair, bro. They're freaking freaks. I don't know, bro. I don't know how you can watch Trevor Lawrence and tell me he's good. But one thing that will happen with Trevor Lawrence is I guarantee you his stats will be good this year because he's going to throw 70 screens a game to Travis Hunter, and they're all going to be fire. I mean, he literally has the best athlete to come out of college football, I don't know, since Bo freaking Jackson. I don't know. And then you've got, on the other side, Brian Thomas, who's basically Randy Moss reincarnated. So, I mean, if you suck with those two individuals, you just suck. Okay? The O-line should be better. The offense should be humming. I think they're going to be effective. I think one of the running backs is going to do great. I still don't know which one. Will it be ETN? Will it be Bigsby? Will it be Tootin? I don't know. Defensively, they're weird because, like, I feel like they have more talent than the product they put on the field. Can they play closer to the individual talent rather than the unit? You know, like, they've got Josh Hines-Allen. They've got Trayvon Walker. They've got Devin Lloyd. They've got Foye Oluokun. They've got Tyson Campbell, who's played well in moments. They now have Jordan Lewis. I like Jerrion Jones. Can they ball? If they can, plus the offense, the scheming, Trevor Lawrence getting his hair conditioned by some freaks, they could be a playoff team this year, bro. I actually think if Trevor Lawrence cut his hair, they might make the playoffs. Number 20, Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh. I'm not sure that you don't suck. I'm not sure. But one thing I do know about the Steelers is they will somehow, some way, by the skin of their teeth, somehow win 9 games. I know they're not going to have a losing record. Mike Tomlin has a deal with the devil, bro. It's not going to happen. So they're 20th because I don't think they have a chance in hell of actually being a fun team or actually being an actual good team. You know, last year, people thought they were good. They're 10-7. They won this game. They won that game. Bro, they actually sucked. They were the worst 10-7 team I've ever witnessed. They sucked. By the end of the year, they were terrible. Terrible. Now, the defense, I do think is pretty damn good on paper. I mean, you've got TJ Watt. You've got Alex Highsmith. You've got the next great linebacker, Peyton Wilson. You've got Patrick Queen. You've got Derek Harmon eventually. You've got Cam Hayward. You've got Benton. You've got Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, Joey Porter Jr., Deshaun Elliott. I'll tell you the whole depth chart if you want. It's stacked. It's loaded. This team's going to have to win through defense. They're going to have to win through pressure. They're going to have to win through turnovers. They're going to have to grit their way to victories. Because offensively, I'm worried about old Aaron Rodgers. I'm worried about the protection in front of him. I'm worried about the run game consistency. I'm worried about Rodgers having to run an offense that isn't his own. I'm worried about the receiver depth chart beyond DK Metcalf. Okay? I'm worried about how they're going to fit all these tight ends on the field at the same time. Now, if it goes well, this could be a throwback football team. Maybe they run the ball really well. They got 2-3 tight ends out there all the time. They're throwing bombs to DK Metcalf off play action. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is really going to do it. But most likely, they'll be 9-8. They'll be the 8 or the 7 seed. They'll maybe or maybe not miss the playoffs, make the playoffs, whatever. And they're going to be a disappointment probably by the outside looking in, but everyone's going to know how it's going to go. Everyone knows how it's going to go. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers, bro. Number 19, Chicago. The Bears are at number 19. I like some of the signs I've seen from the Bears this offseason and in the preseason. I feel like I am obviously, not a Caleb guy. I think I've made that pretty clear. I'm not going to continue to go after Caleb, okay? I'm not going to continue to do it. All right. I'll leave the diva jokes to somebody else. I'll leave the finger painting to somebody else. You can do that. I'm not going to choose to do that. Okay? He looked decent in preseason. He looked okay. Like, They do have a roster. They do have a team that should make something work here. You bring in Joseph Tooney. You have Drew Dahlman at center. You've got an improved offensive line, specifically in the interior. Ben Johnson is a wizard. I've said it once, I'll say it again. He's a wizard. Then you have Colston Loveland, who's so sick. You got DJ Moore playing running back, playing receiver. Where is he lined up? Then you've got Rome Odunze, Durkant's favorite receiver. And we even see guys like Zacchaeus making plays in the preseason. Luther Burden, the way they're talking about Luther Burden, he's the next Steve Smith crossed with Chad Ochocinco. The guy's goated. Defensively, they're very solid. They're going to be well coached. They've got a very talented secondary. Chicago's a well-rounded roster. They're in a really difficult division. They got a suspect quarterback. I have them at number 19. They've got potential. Number 18, the Arizona Cardinals. I didn't realize the Cardinals were such like a sleeper, sneaky nerd pick this year. If I knew that, I wouldn't have been so on board with you guys, because I don't like being a part of that community all the time. The Justin Herbert freaks out there, whatever they do. I don't know what they do in their spare time. But you got the Arizona Cardinals, who, can I just be honest? The reason I don't like this team is, can I be honest? I don't think Kyler Murray is it. I don't. Am I allowed to say this out loud? Are we allowed to say this? I don't think Kyler Murray is the guy. I hope I'm wrong. I also think Marvin Harrison isn't that good. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think Marvin Harrison is that good. And I'm just low on Kyler. Trey McBride is a savage. James Conner is the most disrespected running back in football. Their offensive line is fun. Their offensive scheme is fun. But when it comes down to it, I don't believe in their passing game. I don't. Defensively, I think they've improved greatly, but at the same time, I don't know if they've gone from bad to great. I think they've gone from bad to adequate. I do think Will Johnson will ball. I do love Budda Baker. I do love their additions in the inside to make them bigger, stronger, better against the run. Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson. I do think Josh Sweat is really good, actually better than people give him credit for, specifically Philadelphia Eagles fans, who, whenever they lose a player, they think that player sucks all of a sudden. They retroactively go back and say he's not that good. Funny how that works. I see you Eagles fans. You're not catching me, bro. And then we've got, Walter Nolan's already out, so I don't know how that's going to go. But I just feel like the Cardinals, I have them back in last, but they're a good last place team in their division. I just feel like they're limited by their ceiling on offense, the passing game. Kyler needs to take it up a notch. He needs to be better than I've ever seen him, or else I think this team might disappoint the nerds. I feel sorry for them. At number 17, the Seattle Seahawks, who I don't know how the nerds would like the Seahawks. I'm not going to lie. They're going to run the ball 500 times this year. Kenneth Walker is going to run it 350 times. Kenneth Walker is going to go crazy for my fantasy teams. And Zach Charbonnet will mix in. The O-line and the preseason vibes are great. This is what I like about Seattle. I have risen in my opinion based on what I've seen in the preseason. That is a scary thing to do, ladies and gentlemen, but I just see how it's going to go. They're going to run the ball well. They're going to play action. They're going to have enough of Sam Darnold play actioning and not drop back and passing to where there will be games where he's a disaster because they're falling behind early and he's having to drop back pass. Gino's way better in that regard. But using athleticism, using deep ball, using, his ability off play action, his release. Sam Darnold's a good quarterback in that setting. He's going to be a good quarterback in this offense. Horton flying downfield, looking forward to it. I wonder what's going to happen at tight end, between Barner and Arroyo. And then I do think JSN has a good year, a big year. I think Kupp is a bit washed, so I'm a little worried about their external options or their secondary receiver options beyond JSN. But I think they're going to be very run-focused. They're going to count on their defense to make plays. Hopefully they perform better at home this year. Their defense, I do think, is going to be phenomenal. I do think they're going to be really tough to run the ball on. They've got some really good freaks in the secondary. Eamon Worry being a big one of them. And then you've got, Devin Witherspoon, who's a baller. Reek Woolen as well. I love Julian Love. I feel like Mike McDonald's going to get top 10, top 5 production out of this defense. And they're going to be very difficult to figure out. They're going to be a really fun unit to watch. I think they're going to be very well communicated. So I'm looking forward to Seattle's defense. I'm looking forward to see how this goes down and how Mike McDonald's vision comes to the football field this year. Because I think he has an offense that he wants now. And I think it's going to work within the team. And I think I might sneak the Seahawks into the playoffs for my predictions. And they might just make the playoffs, but I have them number 17 overall. Cardinals, I already talked about you. Go away. Number 16, the Los Angeles Chargers. I've been bipolar when it comes to the Chargers. I'm not going to lie. Like 1 minute, I'm saying, I believe in this team. I believe in their consistency. I believe in their floor. I believe in Jim Harbaugh and his rah-rah and his voodoo. And I believe in Justin Herbert. And, then the next minute, I'm like, okay, I get it, Herbert. You got a hot new girlfriend. Congratulations. But you know what you don't have? You don't have Rashawn Slater. So you're going to be under a lot of pressure, bro. A lot of pressure. Justin Herbert, you're going to have to prove you're as good as Singh says you are. You're going to have to prove you're better than Joe Burrow. All right? Ladd McConkey, I've heard absolutely zero buzz about Ladd McConkey entering year 2, which is very odd. I still don't love the tight ends. I still don't know about the external receiver options beyond Ladd. Okay, Keenan Allen does help a little bit. He gives them a floor. But it's Greg Roman running the offense. Even if Herbert tried, he'd limit him. Defensively, Minter is an absolute phenom as a defensive coordinator, and it's really hard to doubt this guy. But what in the blue have they given him up front? I mean, it's nothing fantastic whatsoever. The interior is a disaster. Tart's decent, I guess. I like the safeties. The corners have upside. Khalil Mack is ageless. Tooley's a good player, but again, this team feels so damn mid. They feel so, limited. Their ceiling just feels so limited. I feel like I can touch it. That's not a good thing. And they feel boring. Why do they feel boring? They're the Chargers. What have you done to the Sweet Prince? Number 15. The best franchise ever to exist in the history of sports. The New England Patriots. The Patriots are back, bitches. That's what they are. At number 15, Mike Vrabel is bringing back old school blue-collar toughness and grit. Drake May is bringing back white boy swag. And we've got a dog at running back for the first time in my life. Maybe since Corey Dillon. An absolute baller in Travion Henderson. I can't wait for Stephon Diggs' touchdown celebrations. I can't wait for Demario Douglas in Josh McDaniels' offense. I can't wait for this defense. I can't wait for Gonzo and Davis to lock people up. I don't know why we cut Jabril Peppers. That made no sense. But I'm looking forward to Bobby Spillane in the middle. I'm looking forward to Milton Williams and Christian Barmore and Harold Landry. I'm looking forward to these new dogs that I've liked for a long time, and they're finally on my team. I'm looking forward to this, man. Hopefully Will Campbell is a guy. But what I know is Drake May is the breakout quarterback of 2025. The Patriots are making the playoffs. The best franchise. We're back, bitches. Number 14, the Minnesota Vikings. Durkant's favorite team is at number 14. The Vikings are actually ranked as a playoff team in my power rankings, but spoiler alert, I do not have them making the playoffs. Part of that is the division, part of that is the turnover of the playoffs, and also part of that is the schedule. And part of that is my reluctance to believe in JJ McCarthy. I will apologize to JJ if he proves me wrong, but I can't pick a quarterback that I've never seen play make the playoffs. Especially when he was absolutely unterrific in college. He was just whatever, and I watched Michigan quite a bit. So, I don't know. Justin Jefferson just feels like he's going to get hurt this year, and I don't like the vibe. Addison is already suspended. Adam Thielen is old. He's just old. The O-line is really good. I think it has potential to be really good, at least. Jordan Mason's overhyped, but I like the addition of Jordan Mason with Aaron Jones, and I do think the offense should be good, but I just wonder how consistent it will be with a rookie, essentially, at the helm. Defensively, I'm really worried about the corners. When you have Jeffrey Okudah playing cornerback for you, I am very worried. That being said, the front seven is so weak, and Brian Flores is just incredible. I don't know how he confuses everybody the way he does. It's insane. He's the best in the game. They've got great coaching. It's hard to doubt the Vikings because of O'Connell and Flores. But I still managed to do it. I'm sorry. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are at number 13, and I guarantee you that someone will be upset about this ranking. You guys know I like the Bucs. They're one of my favorite franchises in the NFL. They've, been one of my favorite teams since Tom Brady was there and he left and he won a ring and should have won an MVP, but we won't talk about that right now. Tampa Bay. My problem is this is a week one power ranking. And Tampa Bay doesn't obviously have Chris Godwin. And they don't have Tristan Wirfs. And that is a killer. They might also not have Cade Otton as well. So if I were to rank their entire season, I'd probably have them in the top 10 or maybe definitely in the top 12, okay? But in week one, there is worry that they lose to the Falcons because they don't have the best left tackle in football. And, they're going to have to prove to me that they can play some defense this year and stop the pass this year. I need to see that before I believe it. I can project them to be a little bit better, sure. And then offensively, I need to see them without Liam Cohen. I need to see how that works. I need to see Baker without him. And I want to see Emeka Egbuka in real action. I still like a lot of their teams, specifically their offense. It's just there's certainly not as much upside here than when they will have Godwin near the end of the year and when they do obviously have Tristan Wirfs. I feel like that brings some shakiness and inconsistency to the offense, the passing game. So with an unreliable defense or a questionable defense, I can only rank them as high as 13. With a coaching staff that I'm also not in love with. I like the roster. I like the talent. I still love a lot of their players offensively and defensively. And Baker's a good quarterback. But in week one, I don't love the makeup as much as potentially long term. Number 12, Washington. Now, this is the reason Washington's ranked higher than a team like Tampa. Despite Tampa being a better team this year, in my opinion, they're healthier in week one. They obviously beat the Bucs in the playoffs last year. That doesn't hurt. And, yeah, the Commanders can move the ball. Bill. I'm looking forward to Bill in the backfield. I'm looking forward to seeing Debo in Cliff's offense, how they use him. I feel like Washington early in this year could be pretty electric. depending on, the new elements being involved here, Laramie Tunsil, Deebo Samuel, is Terry himself after the long holdout and all that sort of stuff. But they could be pretty damn electric. I'm looking forward to that. Giants will be a good test early. Defensively, I don't love their defense, as you guys know, but I do feel like they're well coached. They'll be prepared. They do have plenty of veterans. They're like the oldest team in the NFL. They've got a lot of old D guys like Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, Dietrich Wise, Von Miller, like their defense is quite old. Marshawn Lattimore. They've got a lot of guys that will be prepared to play. A lot of guys that will be good early in the year. They might kind of dwindle down the stretch. I do wonder how this new look cornerback group will look. That is, I think, the upside, the appeal of the defense. If they can really lock some people up on the outside, that could bring them some new resurgence on defense. But I think that short term, this team was going to be pretty compelling and pretty competitive and pretty good. But I think over the course of the season, I don't view them as a playoff team. Maybe. Number 11, the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners would probably be like number 8 if I were to rank them with Jawan Jennings. But Jawan Jennings looks like he's not going to play in week 1. So no Jawan Jennings means a pretty kind of questionable receiving crew. Dominic Pooney is also banged up. I do think he's going to play week 1, but that's a question, right? And as I've said many times, I think this is a Niner team this year that starts a little slow and gets better as the year goes on, and they should benefit from an easy schedule because they're very young on defense, and I think that coaching will take its time to groom this unit into a potential great unit, but it's going to take some time, right? Mustafa is also not there to begin the season, so they do have some questionable elements of their secondary. How's the D-line rotation going to look? How's the run defense look? Concerns over the past couple of years with that run defense. Defensive tackle position, I'm keeping an eye on you. Offensive line, I'm keeping an eye on you. But specifically, it's like the Niners aren't going to be anywhere close to the product that we see at the end of the year, where if they get hot and they're healthy, that's a very dangerous dark horse team in the NFC. But I feel like at the beginning of the year, they might be able to survive with a good record because they have an easy schedule, but I don't think they'll be nearly clicking on all cylinders because they don't have Ayuk. They might not have Jennings. There's going to be some injuries and some guys returning at some point. So number 11, the 49ers are here for good reason. They would be like 8, 7, if not for the injuries and stuff. Number 10, entering the top 10, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. And hopefully we see the Bengals and not the Bungles in 2025. The Bengals are here as high as they are because I think their offense is going to be the best in the NFL this year. I think they're going to light the scoreboard on fire. I think they're going to throw for a ton of yards, throw for a ton of touchdowns. Chase Brown's going to go nuclear. I think their O-line, I absolutely love bringing in Dalton Reisner. That only upgrades their offense, raises their floor offensively. They've got like so many good football players on offense, so many weapons. I mean, they have Noah Fant now with Mike Gesicki. They got 3 or 4 tight ends that can play. Chase Brown in the backfield, Chase, Higgins, Yossi Voss. They got a kid in that preseason was balling at wide receiver. Defensively, I think that defensively they could be better. But I am very much concerned about how it looked in the preseason. I don't know if it looked that way because they're not used to the system, if they weren't playing all their starting guys, if it's because they were very vanilla, like not using a lot of their game plan stuff. But it looked really bad. Like, there's no way other to say it than it looked really bad in the moments that their starters did play. It looked pretty poor, right? But I do have some more hope for Shamar Stewart and TJ Slayton on the D-line, along with Trey Hendrickson and BJ Hill, right? I do think the D-line is deeper and better this year, and I think that foundation is set, right? I do think that the linebacker position has the potential to be better than Pratt with Burks and with Knight in there as solutions. I do think Dax Hill moving to nickel is a good thing where he played in Michigan. I do think DJ Turner healthy's good. Cam Taylor-Britt, we'll see, right? I actually like Josh Newton quite a bit. So I feel like the Bengals have potential if their defense can just not be bottom 5. If they're like the 24th best defense and they have the best offense and they have a better offensive line than most years with Joe Burrow, man, we're really talking about a team that can threaten anybody if their defense has a good game or a couple turnovers. Kind of like the Commanders in last year's playoffs. All of a sudden, they're a threat to beat anybody. So, number 10, the Bengals. Number 9, the Texans. The Texans do have questions about their O-line, but really no other questions. I know that Joe Mixon is injured, but he's a running back. I feel like they can replace him well enough, whether it be with the old man Nick Chubb, whether it be with the rookie Woody Marks, or the X Factor, let's call him Dameon Pierce, right? I do think the receiving core is better. It's deeper with Higgins, Kirk, with Noel. I do feel like you're still going to get something out of Dalton Schultz. I think Stroud is motivated. He'll be stronger, better, wiser. I think that CJ Stroud working at the line of scrimmage, setting his protections, audibling, having more function within the offense and its trajectory. That's a great thing. I like the direction of Nick Caley. I like the direction of the run game. I do feel like, hey, the one thing I can say about the Texans O-line, it might not be good individually, but they have a new left tackle. They have a new left guard. They have a new center. They have a new right guard. And they moved their guard to tackle back again, Howard. So it feels like at least they have new pieces, right? It does appear that their starting 5 on the offensive line will be completely different from last year, which to me is captivating. It's interesting. It's intriguing. It might suck, but at least it's different, right? Defensively, I think they're spectacular. They're awesome. They are missing Danico Autry early in the year, which I think is a big loss. Him and Joe Mixon, that does hurt their ranking a little bit. But I do feel like they're so deep on the D-line. I mean, they've got 4 starting caliber, defensive tackles, even if they don't have a star. They've got 4 really good pass rushers off the edge. They've got a deep linebacker position, a great secondary. I can't wait to see CJ Gardner-Johnson out there with Jalen Petrie in that secondary. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Number 9, the Texans. Number 8, the Broncos. The Broncos are just healthier than the Texans. They're very similar to the Texans. They have a better O-line, not as good of a quarterback, not as good of a receiving core. But the Broncos and Texans are reminiscent of each other. Well-coached teams, I feel like, with a defensive-led team, but also a pretty interesting offense, right? The Broncos are just healthier, and I think that you can count on the coaching. You can count on the O-line to start the season to be pretty efficient. Now, the ceiling is a question with Bo Nix and the offense. Good vibes out of the rookies with Pat Bryant potentially being their wide receiver 2, RJ Harvey being their electrifying runner, and I'm looking forward to see what Bo Nix can bring in year 2. Can this team truly contend is my question. I'm not sure they have that type of ceiling, but I do think they're a very good, well-rounded roster, and that's what I'm looking for, right? Their defense should easily be top 5 this year. They're going to be demons off the edge. They're going to be given pressure all day long, and their secondary is real tough too. Not a lot to be said here about the Broncos. I feel like a lot of people are picking them to win the AFC West. I don't necessarily see that. I just don't see them as right where the Chiefs are, but I certainly see them as a playoff team now. I've been reluctant to put them in there because I want to put people, different teams and things like that to be a little different. But the Broncos are too talented to deny. I have them at number 8. Number 7, the Green Bay Packers. This is where Parsons and the Packers slot in. I have not been this high on the Packers in quite some time. Throughout the offseason, I ranked them, somewhere around 17, 16, 15 for a majority of the offseason, slightly moving them up as we got closer and closer to the season without Parsons. And now that they've acquired Parsons, I firmly have them as a playoff team, and I think I may have them winning their division. We will decide that when the predictions come out, which will come out, guys, very soon. But the Packers are certainly a contender because I think their biggest weakness last year was their pass rush, and they have solved that with one of the best pressure players, one of the best pass rushers in all of football, a defensive player of the year candidate. The question is, how soon can Parsons have an impact? Will he be able to play week 1? Is he even in condition to do so? We will see. But him and Gary off the edge is a scary thought. If Devontae Wyatt can do something, that is a dominant defensive line. Now, you do worry a little bit about the run defense, losing 2 main defensive tackles in Slayton and also in Kenny Clark, but I think that they'll figure it out. I'm not too concerned about that, especially you always have the versatility to move Parsons to linebacker, get bigger at linebacker, add extra linebackers to the field, and then be able to stop the run that way. But also, the The secondary is still not my favorite, specifically corner, but I don't think it's as bad as people think. I just think it's not great. It's not ideal is the right word. Offensively, I'm a little bit worried about the Jaden Reed injury, especially with Christian Watson being out for a good 5-6 weeks. That could really hurt them early in the year if he's not 100% or himself, which it doesn't appear he will be. But that just means more time and more targets for Golden, more targets for Kraft, who I think will be their breakout player. I think they're going to be able to run the ball really, really well. I really like their offensive line. I do think Jordan Love takes a leap this year, combined with a defense that can, I think, really cause a lot of havoc. They're well schemed. They're very fast. That's the thing that I think I like the most about the Packers this year is their defense is extremely fast on paper with those linebackers, with Edgerrin Cooper and Micah Parsons on blitzing angles. Like, good luck. I think the Packers are going to be terrifying for a lot of teams to play in the NFC. I mean, think about how well they played the Packers played the Eagles last year. I mean, think about that, and now they've added Micah Parsons. At number 6, the Detroit Lions. The Lions are still at 6, slightly above the Packers as a reliable Week 1 threat. The reason I have the Lions over the Packers is because of the early season. I think it will take time for Parsons to get involved with the Packers and play a regular snap percentage. I also believe that, it's going to take time to figure out how to use him. At the same time, I believe, with the receiving core, Reed's kind of banged up, all that sort of stuff. Like, I think the Packers are going to have to figure out what's going on with that receiving core early in the year. While the Lions, I think, yes, they lost Ben Johnson, they lost Aaron Glenn, but they've had all offseason to deal with that. They've had all offseason to figure out how this offense is going to go. Really intrigued by moving on from Tim Patrick and giving Isaac Tesla the green light to be a starter within the offense in 11 personnel. But I do think this is a huge year for Jahmyr Gibbs, a massive year for Jameson Williams. Looking forward to seeing them fly all over the football field. I do think their O-line will be still very good. Maybe not absolutely dominant, but still very good. I trust Jared Goff. I trust Dan Campbell. I trust that this team is going to be motivated. I trust that this team is going to be prepared. They might not be as detailed or as creative as years past, but I think they're so talented that it doesn't matter as much for other teams, right? Like Aiden Hutchinson really helps their pass rush. Eventually they get McNeil back. That will help their D-line overall. Tyleik Williams is going to have to play a big role early. Love their linebackers. Jack Campbell, another step expected. They've got great safeties. Corners are feisty and physical. This is just a very good team with very few flaws, with a loaded roster, with a ton of speed, a ton of playmakers, a ton of explosiveness. The Lions, for as much as we deny their potential for this season, I feel like it still exists. So at number 6, the Lions. At number 5, the Rams. Now, I've been all over the map with the Rams in my power rankings due to the fact that we don't know if Stafford's playing. We don't know, if Jackson's playing. All this sort of stuff. And it's like, well, now we kind of do. And it feels like Stafford's going to play and it feels like Jackson's going to play. So all of a sudden, they're healthy and they're looking like a top-notch offense. If Stafford is on the field for all the reps, they're going to deal, right? It's that simple. It's McVay running the show, calling plays for a Matthew Stafford offense with Devontae Adams and Puka freaking Nacua and an offensive line that's top 10 when healthy in the NFL. And you look at the defensive line, it's ridiculously awesome. Their pass rush is phenomenal. I'm worried about the speed of the defense. I'm worried about the coverage. I'm worried about the versatility in coverage to play man and zone. I'm worried about some of that stuff, the corners, all that sort of stuff, the linebackers. But I do feel like their defense is well schooled. They don't give up a lot of big plays, and they complement an offense that should be able to put up a lot of points, score, play balanced, and they're very well coached, and they've got a great quarterback who can win them the games in the fourth quarter. So at number 5, the Rams are a legitimate contender as long as Stafford is healthy, his back is good, and their left tackle's on the field. At number 4, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, concerned about Rashee Rice, you can make an argument that the Rams or the Lions should maybe be above the Chiefs because of Rashee Rice being suspended, but I still believe in the Chiefs enough. I do think the O-line will be better than last year because I think Simmons is going to be a dog from day one. I actually will say this, right? I don't even need to get into Reed, Spags, the defense, all that sort of stuff. The defense, though, has slowly gotten deeper and better throughout the offseason, adding some players to the safety position, adding some depth back at D-tackle, getting Nandi back with a trade, all that sort of stuff. Definitely has boosted my confidence in the depth and the overall concerns about the defense. I do think the corner group is also better than last year. But I will say, Mahomes looks different this year. Mahomes looks better this year. Mahomes looks slimmer. He looks, physically just better. Like, I like the haircut. I feel like he just looks in better shape. He looks more motivated. And I feel like he's going to play better this year. Like, I'm not a Patrick Mahomes fan, obviously, but I do know he's a great player. And we haven't seen that player in a couple years, it feels like, in terms of the consistency of the phenomenal playmaking. And I really like what I've seen from the preseason reps. And I really think that he looks better. He looks in better condition, which does matter as an athlete. Travis Kelce, maybe the same thing. So this could be the last ride for Mahomes with Kelce. They're going to make the most of it. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. But, man, they're really, really, really making me not doubt them right now, because I do think that Mahomes right now looks better. He just, from my eyes, he just looks better. Number 3, the Buffalo Bills. I moved the Bills from 2 to 3 because of their concerns right now at safety and corner. I need to see how their safeties play, and I need to see that depth chart unwind. And I also need to see how they fill in for Hairston early in the season at corner CB2. There are concerns about those positions in the secondary, which has me overall concerned about the pass defense, which is enough for me to move them underneath the Eagles, okay? So I have Buffalo. At number 3, they've got the best player in the NFL, or the best quarterback, no matter how you say it. Their O-line's awesome. And I think what I love about the Bills on offense is they have a great combination of an elite run game and an elite quarterback, which is a really difficult thing to deal with. When you think about what the Bills are on offense, people wonder why they're so good. It's the fact that they have an elite quarterback who can make plays in the passing game and the running game and can do it all himself. But then they also can rely on a really strong run game that teams have to resort to stop, which means that the receivers not being as great, it doesn't matter as much. But I do expect more out of Coleman. I do expect more out of Kincaid. And I do expect some from Josh Palmer. I think Josh Palmer is an upgrade over a Mac Hollins. Like, I do think this receiving core did get better, despite people not really claiming that it did. So at number 3, concerned a bit about the defense, but the offense will be humming. At number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, I just feel very confident about where they're at entering the season. I don't necessarily think they're going to repeat, but I just feel like they're extremely strong. Saquon's healthy and ready to go. I do feel like A.J. Brown has had some little banged up stuff during training camp, but he should be good to go. Devontae Smith has kind of been sneaking under the radar all offseason. Dallas Goedert, same thing. The O-line is the best in the league. And, you know, Jalen Hurts is a little motivated entering the year. I actually expect him to throw the ball more this year and be better throwing the ball this year. And maybe take a little bit less off of, a little bit more off of Saquon Barkley and have him run less. And defensively, I still think they're going to be fantastic. I just do have my concerns about not being as fantastic as last year and how that does unwind and how that does change the team. Because their team was basically Saquon and a defense and an offensive line, obviously. That was their team last year, right? It was a very weird team. But this year, they're going to have to be a more 2025 team, it feels like. They're going to probably not be as reliant on Saquon scoring 50-yard touchdowns. They're probably going to need a little bit better from the all-around offense, the scheming of the offense, the detail of the passing game, which is concerning when you lose your offensive coordinator. Defensively, do they still have that level of pass rush that they had with Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, who are two great players? What does that secondary look like now, post Darius Slay and CJ Gardner-Johnson? But overall, I do still feel they're loaded. I still feel very good about the offense. I feel like they can ball control you, and they'll create explosives. It's a pick your poison offense that's so hard to deal with. And defensively, they're top 5. So I have them at number 2. And then number 1 is the Ravens. No question in my mind. It's the most talented roster as I ranked it. It's a top 2-3 quarterback in Lamar. Any capable season he is on the field, it's MVP quality. The offensive line is the biggest concern on offense, and it's not that bad. Derrick Henry, looking forward to another great season. But Keaton Mitchell, man, look out for him to have some big plays as well. Also, likely should come back at some point during the midseason. And Zay Flowers, I think, could have a breakout year. Not a lot of people talking about Zay Flowers. Rashad Bateman, I thought had his best season ever last year. He could build upon that this year. You add D-Hop into the mix. Defensively, I think they're terrifying. Like, I think the reason that I'm so high on the Ravens is because I really believe in the way they've built this defense. Roquan in the middle, Kyle Hamilton in the middle, taking away those middle field looks. You got Starks back there, and then you have a great cornerback group that can man up, that can zone. And I just love the feeling of when they're all healthy, they can just man you up and they can just devastate the Chiefs receivers, devastate the Bills receivers, and make the, receivers beat them instead of the quarterbacks, which is such a good thing to have. And then I think their pass rush is better because of Mike Green. They're obviously great against the run. They're a bunch of fat dudes up front. And yeah, the Ravens are just really, really good. Like, this should be their year unless they lose to the Bills or the Chiefs again, which of course could happen. But I have them at number 1 to top off my power rankings entering 2025. Those are week 1 power rankings, which means I'm strictly ranking them entering week 1, right? Not the variance of what happens down the road, not predictions for the entire season, okay? These are week 1 power rankings. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, Gronk spike the like button. Don't be a jabroni. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.